Hey, word. Wanna hear it, wanna talk about it. Word. Wanna hear it, wanna talk about it. Know it's all about the word. You know it's word. Yo, what up? It's G-Stylez, and you're listening to the Word Podcast. And we're back with another episode for your soul. That's right. And today we're joined by Lisa Morales, who's a singer-songwriter and all-around great person, here to talk about her music experience and upcoming events, as well as her new album, She Ought to Be King. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thank you so much. I'm excited about it.
Definitely an honor to have you on the show. But before the show, we were talking a little bit about your touring, and you've actually performed in the San Luis Valley before, right?
Yeah, with my sister. We had a group called Sisters Morales.
And just so we know, you're currently based out of Texas right now, right?
Yes, Austin and San Antonio.
All right, so first let's talk a little bit about your music experience. What got you into music in the first place, and what genre would you consider your music?
Well, I grew up with Mexican parents. My mom was a Chilanga. She was from Mexico City, and my dad was from Tucson. And we grew up with this beautiful culture, so we grew up with rancheras and with boleros and stuff. But we also listened to Frank Sinatra, and my brother also had a band, and he would listen to Buffalo Springfield and Jimi Hendrix, and we had a sister who have a sister who listened to pop music, and then my mom listened to world music. So I'm a mixture of all those things. So my thing, I think, right now is Spanglish. I'm grabbing. My mom and I had this language between each other, which was poetry, and often she would speak to me in Spanish, or quote me Garcia Lorca's poetry. We just had this language between us. And so I really dug into that when she passed away in 2009. So I really dug into that, and that's kind of become my genre, I think. It's Spanglish. And it's the singer-songwriter in me, because I love Willie Nelson and Rodney Crowell as well. And I have kind of a big voice. Linda Ronstadt's my cousin. And so we have these big voices in our family. But I've mixed everything together and put my Latina self into it. So that's kind of, I guess, a long, short answer to that.
That's okay. I like the longer answers anyway. It helps us get to know you a little bit better. So how long have you been doing music?
When I was 4 and my sister was 5, my dad would make us sing with the mariachis. He'd make us get up on stage with them. In Tucson. We were originally from Tucson. And so, since then, and then we had a band, an all-girl band in grade school, wrote all our own songs, and then we did a radio show, and we were like 11 and 12, or 12 and 13, something like that. And so, forever. I've been doing this forever, and I started writing songs when I was 7, and really, my dad passed away when I was 14, so I went into my bedroom, and during the grieving period, even when I was in school, I was going to high school, and I would come home during lunchtime and just write and write and write. And so that's when I really became a songwriter.
So what's your instrument of choice, or do you just enjoy doing the writing and the singing more?
Oh, no, I play guitar and I play piano. I play electric and I play classical and I play acoustic. So I have that, the gut string sound in my sound.
So I know this is a silly question, but do you have any music on streaming services right now?
Oh, yeah. I have a bunch of albums. My album called She Ought to Be King came out in August of last year, and David Garza produced it, and we recorded it at Sonic Ranch outside of El Paso, and Tim LaFave played bass on it. It's got a bunch of people. I have a duet with Rodney Crowell on it. Rodney and I penned that song, and then Greg Raleigh sang background vocals and played B3 on one of the songs. It's got an all-star cast of characters. I'm very proud of it. And then I have albums. Before that was Luna Negra and The Daughter of the Sun, and before that is Beautiful Mistake. And then I had 6 albums with my sister under Sisters Morales.
Oh, I see. So did you go your separate ways, or did she just stop doing music?
She passed away last year, so we don't do music anymore. Yeah, she passed away from cancer.
I am really sorry to hear that. I had no idea.
Thanks. We had incredible harmonies, and it was kind of like the Everly Brothers kind of, but doing Spanish stuff. And I mean, we wrote our own stuff, and then we did some old traditional, but our way, and rocked them a little bit more. We traveled all over the world, traveled all over this country and Canada and Europe, and just we had a good run.
Well, at least that's good that you got to have all that time together and share all those experiences. I bet that was, a lot of experience you got just going all the way around the world doing different shows and meeting different people. And I know this is kind of a hard transition, but can you tell us a little bit about your new album, She Ought to Be King? It's out right now, and I hear that it's doing really well. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, it's in English and in Spanish, and it's as a songwriter, I write all kinds of genres, and so it's mixing everything from blues to Latin and my version of Latin, and then almost a traditional feel. And then I kind of talk about the things that were going on during COVID, and I actually wrote about 5 of the songs over in Taos during COVID. David Hidalgo from Los Lobos played on it, Rodney Crowell, and I, as I mentioned before, that we did a duet on it, and I'm just really proud of the album. It's still very new, so, I'd love for y'all to check it out.
And it's definitely a great album. Y'all need to go listen to that. So you're currently on tour right now, right?
Yes, I just actually did a show last weekend and another one last month with Los Lonely Boys, and then last year I was touring with Los Lobos and Rodney Crowell, and I have some tours, some dates coming up in the summer with Los Lonely Boys as well. So I keep pretty busy. I also tour on my own. I'm out there playing.
So how do people go about booking you for a gig, or do you have contact information or maybe a website they can go to?
Yes, it's lisamoralesmusic.com.
Well, if you're barely joining us right now, I've been speaking with Lisa Morales, who's a singer-songwriter and really great musician, been touring with Rodney Crowell and Los Lobos and Los Lonely Boys here soon, and talking about her new album, She Ought to Be King, which is on all streaming services right now, and she's also on tour. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about your live performances. What can people expect to see at your shows?
Well, just we have a high-energy show, and I love to feed off of people, so I'm excited about playing in an area I haven't been back to in a long time, and just know that I give my all. I give everything that I have. I'm very honest in my singing and very honest in my lyrics, and I have a wonderful guitar player with me, Paul Ramirez, who's just fantastic, and we'll be playing both electric and acoustic and some of the gut string as well. So,
well, I'd like to thank you so much for being with us today, Lisa. It was an honor talking to you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I know you're a busy lady and you need to get going, but can you tell our listeners one more time how they can get more information about your music and book you again?
Yes, it's lisamoralesmusic.com. And on Instagram and Facebook, it's lisamoralesmusic.com. On Spotify, it's lisamoralesmusic.com as well. I mean, Lisa Morales Music as well. You can check out everything.
Well, thank you again so much, Lisa. You have yourself a great day, and we'll talk to you hopefully next time around.
Thank you.
All right, stick around for more right here on Word. Welcome back to the podcast Word. I'm G-Stylez, and I'm joined in the studio today by Dannette Jacquez-Avila, who's the host of La Buena Onda on KRZA Radio, and that airs every Wednesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we're here to talk about some Tejano music. How you doing today, Dannette?
I am doing good, Gerald. Thank you for inviting me to come and be a guest on your podcast show. I'm very excited just to talk about the Tejano music that I really like and enjoy playing on my show on La Buena Onda on Wednesday nights at KRZA.
Well, tell us a little bit about the music. I mean, you've been doing this forever here at the station, over 35 years, right?
This year's 39.
Oh, wow.
Quite a bit, long time. But anyway, I first was introduced to Tejano music back in 1984. Had some friends from Texas, and this is when I was at Adams State, and they asked me to start listening to an artist who was David Lee Garza y Los Musicales, was one of my very first. I really liked his music, but then as the years went by, I continued listening to different artists here on my show. I've been a DJ at KRZA since 1985. I started playing Tejano music, and the more I played it, the more I liked it. And, you know, once you start hearing one artist, there's always another artist, and it continues. So then I was really intrigued with Tejano music. I wanted to go to San Antonio because that's like the heart of Tejano music, I think. I could be wrong, but I really believe that that's a place. Fanfare is just an amazing time in San Antonio. There's so many artists that perform in 4 days. I wanted to go. So the first trip I made was in 1991, where I did get to meet David Lee Garza. It was very exciting. I got to tour Manny Records, which is no longer in existence, but just to be able to visit a recording studio and see what it was like to be there was just amazing. And so then I just continued listening to the music. I was in contact with a lot of record companies out of San Antonio, in and out of Texas as well. And throughout the years, I've been in contact with many of those recording companies, and we have been able to bring a lot of that Tejano music to KRZA, which has been amazing for me because I've been able to air that music during my show. And the other thing that I really am very excited about is the fact that we've been able to interview those artists. There's so many artists that I've interviewed over the phone. Some have actually come to the station to do an interview, which has been very exciting for us. And I just hope that we can continue to do this with the years coming. But yeah, some of my favorite artists, I have to tell you, Jay Pettis. I have been listening to Jay Pettis' music, and actually Jay Pettis also played with David Lee Garza, and he was with him for a short while. And so anyway, I had a chance to see Jay Pettis in concert in San Antonio, and then I was able to interview him on one of my shows during La Buena Onda, which was very exciting just to be able to talk to him, to see him perform. Not actually like meet him in person, but just to see him perform was just quite amazing. I've continued to see a lot of artists performing, you know, like through social media, of course, you know, Facebook. And I'm just very intrigued with the music. I love it. And I wish that we could bring those artists to the San Luis Valley. I think that would be so amazing just to have a different type of music here in the Valley.
And so you've interviewed a ton of people on your show already. You've had a ton of people from Freddie Records and all kinds of other record companies.
Out of Freddie Records, I truly believe I have interviewed, I'm going to take a guess, Gerald, but I believe it's like 23 artists.
Wow.
That I've interviewed. But I have to tell you that I have another favorite recording artist, and I've been following his music since 1984, and that is Gary Hobbs. Mm-hmm. He is, I believe he's from Eagle Pass, Texas. I've always liked his music. He actually is on the Freddie Records label right now. He's recording with them, and I'm hoping that I can interview him here within the next couple months, and also do a phone interview with him as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that would be like the highlight for me, to be able to actually do the interview and just to talk about his amazing career that he's had.
Yeah, Gary. So if you're out there listening, man, it's time to get on the station.
I'm sure they do, you know, which I really hope to see him in person as well, like perform. Saw him many years ago at the at Fanfare. Actually, it was the Texas Talent Musicians Association. I saw him perform for the award ceremony, and that was years ago. But I would actually like to see him perform live again. So hopefully, maybe next year, Gerald, we'll get to go to Fanfare in San Antonio, which is usually in March. So that just happened last weekend.
So what is Fanfare exactly?
Fanfare is a big event. It's a 4-day event in San Antonio. There are probably over 100, maybe 150 artists that perform in 4 days.
Oh, wow.
They have stages set up through Market Square. And then I think this year was their second event where they set up stages away from Market Square, I believe somewhere in La Veita by the Riverwalk. They had other stages there as well, and artists performed there too. So, I mean, It was a 4-day event of nothing but music, good music.
And so you're also a judge and sometimes a presenter for the New Mexico Hispano Awards?
Yes,
Is that what it is?
I have been involved with the New Mexico Hispano Music Awards since 2011, and I was just a presenter. And then I was asked by one of the board members who is from Colorado, Jason Manzanares, who was actually a native of the San Luis Valley in Del Norte. Jason now lives in Grand Junction, but he called me and asked me if I would want to help be a judge, and I would be representing Colorado. So I have been a judge for the last 8 years, I believe. And so every winter, I travel to New Mexico. I make 3 trips. The first trip is to go judge music. That's a 2-day event. And the second is we go and we judge the youth and children's competition, which is like 2 weeks after the first trip I make in New Mexico. The second trip is the youth and children's competition. The third trip is the actual award ceremony where I've actually been a presenter. So that is really exciting. And, there is so much talent in New Mexico, so many entries. A lot of those New Mexico recording artists submit a lot of music to get judged. And there's, I believe, 25 categories for the New Mexico Hispano Music Awards, including the youth and children's competition. They're all included in those categories. So, I've been a judge, and I'm just so honored to be there because, I'm like the only person from Colorado that is a judge. And it's just exciting to represent KRZA at the New Mexico Hispano Music Awards. I have really enjoyed it a lot.
And so is there any music right now that you're listening to that you want to kind of shout out, like some new CDs or anything that kind of new, I guess?
Yeah, so we have received a lot of music from Daniel Lee Gallegos, who is a New Mexico recording artist. He has a recording studio in Las Vegas, and he has really been promoting a lot of artists. I recently received a new song by Daniel Lee, and the other artists that he records as well. We get their music as well. So shout out to Daniel Lee if he's tuning in. Also to Archie at ATM Recording Studios in Hernandez, New Mexico, also has been sending us, the recording artists, I should say, that recorded his studio, they also send us music too. So I want to thank Archie, and also Jerry Dean at Atlanta CDs in Albuquerque also has sent us a lot of music as well. So the other one I want to mention is Steve Chavez. He's at Steve Chavez Recording Studio, also known as Randall Records, also has sent us a lot of music as well throughout the years. So a big thank you to them, and just encourage, if there is anybody listening that is a recording artist or has a recording studio and you would like to get your music sent to KRZA, please do. The address is KRZA Community Radio Station. The address is 528 9th Street, Alamosa, Colorado, and the zip code is 81101.
I was just going to ask you that question, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, so you've been doing a ton of different stuff here at the station for years and years, but the Spanish music, especially Tejano, and then Tex-Mex, and we have a good little combination of different things there that you play, right?
Yes. Yeah, I've been trying to incorporate other genres as well. There's a group here in Alamosa called Absolution that I played on my show, and I was like, wow, I need to do this more. And actually, I played one of your songs as well.
Oh, thank you.
I did that. And I'm thinking, wow, I need to do something different, So I'm trying to incorporate that into my show and give other artists a chance and not be playing the same thing every week. I really try to do a different show every week. And my favorites, I kind of squeeze them in, but not so much anymore, because I really feel like there's so many artists out there and their music needs to be heard as well.
And that's the thing is there's so many, famous musicians already there. I mean, obviously they're really good and we all like their music, but it's like you said, they get a ton of promotion already. And it's nice to kind of like give a little highlight to some of these local musicians or some of these, the lesser known people.
And just in Taos alone, Taos has a lot of talent. It just amazes me how many artists are recording. The other place that I forgot to mention, and I'll do, is Darren Cordova at DMC Records. Also they've all in the past have sent us a lot of music as well. And I actually made contact with Darren last summer and encouraged him to continue to send us music because, it's really good stuff that's coming out of New Mexico, and it just makes me so happy to be able to play their music and know who they are. And I think that's what I really like about this, Gerald, is the fact that I have seen these artists perform. I know some of them, and I feel like I have a special bond with them because of that, because I know them, and I really want to help promote their music and just get them to, to listen to KRZA more often, because their input, I think, is really important to us. And we want to know that they're actually tuning in and letting us know, what they like and what they don't like. I think that's really important for us because that's what helps us grow.
And another one I was going to mention a little while ago, but I remember you did a really cool interview with Sonny Ozuna, who's actually been around in music forever, and he's from Sonny and the Sunliners, even from way back in the 50s, I think.
Did you know? I interviewed the Pioneers of Tejano music.
Really?
Yes. So the Pioneers of Tejano music are Joe Bravo, Freddie Martinez, Carlos Guzman, Augustine Ramirez. We did an interview with I and one of our DJs, Ray Trujillo. We interviewed Freddie Martinez, and then I continued and I interviewed the other four Tejano recording artists on my show, and it was amazing to hear them. And then in 2019, Freddie Records had a 50th anniversary celebration in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I and my husband and son traveled to Las Vegas to go to the celebration. It was incredible. We got to see all those artists perform live. That we got to see one of my favorite bands is La Fevre. Got to see La Fevre perform, and then Lucky Joe performed. I played Lucky Joe's music as well, but it was just amazing to see. 50 years of music between 5 men and all the songs that those men have recorded throughout the years. It's just amazing.
So for some of our listeners out there who are not real familiar with Tejano music, can you explain what is Tejano music? Like, what would you consider that? Like, what instruments or whatever are part of that?
So, Tejano music, I guess I have to tell you that it's the beat and the melody of the music. There is like the bass, there is the drums, the organ, the horns. I guess all of those instruments just compile together to make that beat and that harmony just be like so beautiful. Sometimes it has like a German influence, but it's just the beat of the music that's so beautiful. And then, the artists that record the music have beautiful voices. It's not only the men, but there's some many, many talented women. Elida Reina is one of them. Geez, she sings so beautiful. I've never seen her sing in person, but I've listened to her music over the years. Actually got to interview Elida too on my show. But just seeing all these artists perform has just been, amazing. And listening to their music. I listen to a lot of it on, like on Spotify or on TuneIn Radio. Listen to a lot of those artists because I really like it. It's something that brings me a lot of joy. So
then accordions and things like that are part of Tejano as well, right?
Yes, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Yeah, accordions are.
So I kind of figured when you said it had a little bit of German influence in there.
Yes, violins. So, it just depends.
So what's the difference between Tex-Mex and Tejano? Are they the same or are they a little different?
I don't know. I truly believe, there's also the Conjunto music as well. And I think just the compilation, there's music that is like the type of instruments that they use for Conjunto music. Yeah. Kind of gives it a different melody. So, there is some way of distinguishing, I guess, when you listen to it, you can tell it's Conjunto, or
Tex-Mex or whatever.
Tex-Mex, yeah.
Seems like Tex-Mex has a lot more of the country influence in it.
It does.
You know what I mean?
It
like,
does, yeah.
like Texas music mixed with New Mexico music, kind of.
Yeah, it does.
So.
That's a good way to describe it.
Well, if you're barely joining us out there, I've been speaking with Dannette Jacquez-Avila, who is the host of La Buena Onda on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. on KRZA. You can listen to that on the TuneIn radio app, or you can go to krza.org, click on the Listen Live, and you can listen that way, or you can send in your music as well. So I'll let her tell you how you can do that.
Yes, thank you, Gerald, for the invite. So you can send your music to KRZA, community radio station, 528 9th Street, Alamosa, Colorado. The zip code is 81101, and please send it to Andrew McAllister's attention. He is the music director at KRZA. Or if you want to MP3 the music, you can send that to engagement coordinator at krza.org. That's engagement. It's all one word. Engagement coordinator at krza.org.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much, Dannette, for coming in. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss before we wrap up?
No, I think that's pretty much it, Gerald. Thank you so much for the invite. It's been pretty interesting. And thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And I mean, this is always cool. A lot of people out there, especially my audience, doesn't know a whole lot about Tejano music, so it's good to kind of get a little bit of insight on that. You know?
Maybe you can get some beats off of that.
Oh, there you go.
To create some music.
I need to start sampling some Tejano music. There we
I
go.
bet you can. See?
And like you said too, go check out some of these local musicians too that you talked about today. Absolution's one of them that I've been working with recently, and they're like a alternative heavy metal type band. I would say they're kind of similar to like Evanescence.
You know, I think it's really interesting, Gerald. The other thing is that there's so many artists out there here in the San Luis Valley in particular that I'm not even aware of because I really don't go out to a lot of the venues. But one of the things that, you know, I'm very intrigued about is knowing who they are so that we can have them call us here at the station, and I want to give the number out. That number 719-589-8844. We can do a phone interview. I'm on air Wednesday nights at KRZA. I do a show called La Buena Onda on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. And in between those 2 hours, I sometimes do the phone interviews with recording artists. So if you're interested, please let me know. I would love to interview you and talk about who you are, where you're from, and where you're performing. That way our listeners know, and they can go and listen to you perform
get
live.
You some promotion too.
Yes.
So thank you again, Dannette. Hopefully we'll talk to you down the line a little bit once the show kind of progresses.
Okay. Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You too.
And thank you all for listening and for joining us today. We had a couple of great interviews and another great show. So until next time, this is the podcast Word. I'm G-Stylez. Peace out. Hey, yeah. Word. Wanna hear it, wanna talk about it. Word. Wanna hear it, wanna talk about it. Know it's all about the Word. You know it's Word.